7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Rolling.
1. Everyone relax. This is TOFOP. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson. Hello and thank you for watching.
We are episode 3 of our bulk record.
We just had a sandwich.
Oh, good
Shared
sandwich.
a sandwich.
Good sandwich. Bit of banter with the cafe owner who was a Saints fan.
So
I was
we
wearing my Saints bomber jacket.
Well, we went to St. Ali,
Yeah,
which is a local cafe
in South Melbourne.
nearby where we are. And
Last time we did a record down here and you wanted to get a coffee, it took him about half an hour
yeah,
to make that coffee to later.
You know what? It can sometimes, depending on how many people are in the restaurant itself, because it's like it has a takeaway bit of it.
Yeah.
And in fact, you have a little thing in your tooth,
Right.
a little bit of just like a little. Now
Yeah,
this on
subscribe-
camera.
subscribe
Subscribe
to
to
our
the Patreon so you
Seeing
can
it clearing
see
my tooth.
the little bit of the sandwich that is still left in Charlie's tooth.
Is it
Give
still
us a
there?
smile. Oh, now it's right in the middle.
Oh,
it's literally right in the middle of your
Oh,
tooth.
gone?
Yeah, gone.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. I'll rinse my mouth with water while you keep talking.
People love that. So Charlie's currently rinsing, now spit, and I'll see you in 6 months. So, so if it can, the takeaway arm of it can get a little snowed under by the pressure of the coffees going out in the general cafe sometimes. But also, as you experienced in real life, that cafe has a lot of attitude, like vibe, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a general sense that it's not designed for efficiency. It's designed for experience and atmosphere. And so the fact that while there were still other people waiting in line to order things, you and the guy who was waiting to take your order had a considerable amount of banter, like a lot.
I was trying to
like
angle-
a good. Oh, you were trying to get a free coffee.
coffee.
Yeah, you said out loud at one point, "Do I get a free coffee?"
Always grifting. Always got a grift. He was a Saints fan.
Yes.
He was a Saints fan. He saw my Saints jacket because I'm going to the football after this. And
Then you showed him.
my Saints tat. Yeah. Didn't get me a free coffee.
No.
I thought that was definitely going to get me across the
I know
line.
you
mean,
got
what
it
does
out pretty
cost?
quick too.
Well, you pay $5 for a cup of coffee on average, right?
Yeah.
So how much do you think it costs to make a cup of
It's
coffee?
very expensive at the moment.
Is it?
Yeah, there's always articles in the paper about like the cost of coffee going up because
Importation? What don't we have locally grown beans?
you can, but the best ones come from
South America.
overseas, all sorts of places overseas. Like
Right.
yeah, and the drought conditions,
Oh, yeah.
like climate change, is hurting the production of coffee, but also there's a lot-
Chocolate as well.
chocolate. That's right.
Chocolate prices are going through the roof. All our favourite things.
Yeah, that's why I'm going so hard at the moment on coffee and chocolate because I want to get in before they run out.
Yeah, totally. That's the excuse.
Yeah.
Mr. Will and Mr. Anderson, you've got 6 months to live.
Yeah, my attitude to coffee and chocolate is very much like my attitude to free to air TV. I'll keep doing it until it finishes up.
Oh, wow. Speaking of free TV, I watched free to air TV last night because the football was on. I was staying at my friend's place. I couldn't get the KO working for whatever reason, so I watched Channel 7. My God, when you have not watched free to air in a while and then you watch it again, like the ads are so intrusive, like offensive in a way. Like I've become so conditioned and been in a bubble for so long where my content, like I subscribe to YouTube, so I don't even see ads on YouTube. I've got ad blockers, so I really minimize my exposure to advertising. But then you watch free to air and it's like, after every goal, do we have to do this? What's going on?
That's the business model.
I understand that, but it seems so archaic, this idea of like, we are going to cram these down. Because I thought the new business model was like branded content, right? Like that's what everyone wants to find a presenter or a show and you brand it and you put it in there and it's a real more subtle way of getting that content out there.
That's part of it.
But then
there's still the old-fashioned way, which is like here's
record
a goal,
scratch, here's this.
buy a car,
Yeah. But it's also because it's the same fucking ads. Like that's the problem is like,
buy a car.
buy a car. This fucking car. Did you
I
not hear
said
it the first time?
buy a car.
Surely they do market research. They're like, people don't want this anymore. Like advertisers got to get smarter. I mean, what has Gruen taught you about this? Like,
Nothing.
okay, but
I refuse to learn anything.
but have the trends changed in the way consumers want to be advertised to? Or
Of course, but there is a market who still consume a lot of free to air television. In fact, during these times, by the time people are listening to this, the Olympics will feel like it was a long time ago, but we are recording this at the time of the Olympics, and there are unprecedented numbers back watching free-to-air television again. So there's probably a whole bunch of people who are having that same experience as you, which is they've been off in their streamer world, since probably the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, when the pandemic settled in, were like, okay, I'm going to sign up to some streamers. We're going into this world. There was a lot of content. People were binging shows all the time. That was the new world. And then a few people are like, okay, well, I've got to float back to free-to-air to watch the Olympics. And I think a lot of them are getting a rude shock right now at how much.
And then ads are coming to streamers anyway, right? Like
A lot of
on
streamers
Amazon
already
Prime,
have. Yeah,
there's definitely
a lot
ads
of it.
there. I mean,
think it's a
Amazon, the fucking gall of Amazon.
We need to advertise.
The wealthiest
Otherwise, we'll go out of business.
company in the world.
No, we've got to run ads, mate. We can't.
Who pay their
we
employees
can't-
nothing, make them
What are you
fucking
talking
piss in
about?
bottles so they can make their
Mate,
delivery run.
We can't.
Here's some ads.
Here's some ads.
Because Jeff Bezos needs to fly to
We can't
Mars.
afford. Yeah, I just,
Like, the spaceships
Yeah.
to Mars are expensive.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos is actually turning himself into a Martian. We found some Martian DNA, and he's becoming a Martian for his return to Mars.
So so streaming will start having, or there'll be
Streaming is just going to be television
there'll
soon.
be there'll be tiered subscriptions,
Yeah,
right?
of
so,
course.
if you want the base one, you're gonna have to watch a couple of ads,
Mm.
like YouTube, or you can pay a bit more and you can have it ad free. Do you think that there'll be more people in the tiered system with no ads, or do you think it'll be people will just go, "Oh, fucking stomach the 2 ads after Baby Reindeer 2"?
Well, there'll be both, right? In the same way as there are people who watch free-to-air television because it is free to air, that is going to be the model that sustains them, the people who don't want to pay for it. And then there's going to be people who can afford the premium who pay the premium. It's like it's like joining the Qantas Club or the fast track lane at if you make the experience terrible for everyone and then you can put a premium on going, you don't have to go through this bullshit.
The less terrible experience.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, man. I mean, this expansion and contraction of the economy is really fucking things up for my entertainment. Not only producing entertainment, but consuming entertainment as well. I just used to be simpler when there was less channels, less things. I'm going to sound like an old man now.
Well, a lot of it. I mean, I remember when Foxtel came in Australia, pay TV in Australia for the very first time. The whole premise was you sign up for this and you don't get ads anymore. And then at some point they just started showing ads on it. And I was like, hang on, this wasn't the deal.
Yeah, well, SBS, when SBS started doing ads.
Yeah. SBS has got
I mean,
ads.
even kind of like the ABC does ads. It's for other ABC
No,
shows.
the ABC doesn't do ads.
They're
Charlie.
ads,
They don't
promos.
advertise on, no.
Promos.
That's right. Yeah, promos.
But it's like, I don't want to watch promos for other shows. Just give me the goddamn show. That's all I want. Give me the goddamn show. And surely with people's, they've done studies on what young people consume their entertainment and the length of, we grew
6
up.
seconds at a time.
Yeah,
That's all I want.
Yeah.
6 seconds.
Because for us, it was half an hour for TV, 2 hours.
Don't have time for that, mate.
2 hours for a
6
movie.
seconds. What's the news?
11 minutes. I want a show in 11 minutes.
Yeah, 11.
What's the fastest show you go? 6 seconds? 3 seconds? It's like, what's that short story? Baby Shoes Never Worn? Or something like that. That's the fastest.
Yeah, Baby
the shortest
Shoes.
story.
Never worn.
Baby Shoes Never Worn. There you go. They can do that in less than 6 seconds. Or what was that Muhammad Ali poem? You, me, we?
You, me, we. Is that like we both we?
Yeah, it's water sports. Apparently,
that was
Muhammad
his
Ali was
pickup line?
way.
It was like, you, me, we?
Oh, no, I think it was I, we.
I, we?
No, I, you.
Oh, I actually
no,
used an
what
I,
was it?
we, I think, at home. Yeah.
I, you, we.
Are you we? Oh, yeah, I've just got a
A Yui.
Are
Oh,
you?
you get insured through Yui.
Yeah.
Also not a sponsor
I
of
do
the
a
show.
Yui.
If you listened to last week, you know that we were making our way through a quite extensive, some would say exhaustive list of Taylor Swift's
It's been a
beefs.
lot of positive feedback, though, in between episodes.
People love it.
People have
people
loved
love
this.
biscuits and Taylor
It's
Swift.
the one thing
love
we
it.
know
If you're a
that has
Swift
happened in the last week. That has definitely passed since we recorded these episodes.
we decided to turn this into a 2-part episode.
Yes.
Mainly because the list is so long, and I was quite enjoying finding. I didn't. First of all,
How many of her enemies did you know about? Kanye.
John Mayer vaguely.
Yeah, and Kanye.
And Kanye.
The feud.
And maybe
Kanye.
Katy Perry.
Maybe.
But I didn't know details around
I didn't know any of the details of the Katy Perry.
Because I always thought not the knock on Taylor Swift is that, she dates guys and breaks up with them. That's her thing. And then writes a song
The
about
cliche
them.
is that she writes breakup albums or breakup songs.
She talks about in one of her songs, the Shake It Off, is like, they say, what was the line about boyfriends? I can't make them stay. That's what people say. That's what people say.
Well, basically her life is just things happening and then her writing songs about those things. But that is...
She's not allowed to do that well.
But she is because...
No.
That's what a comedy festival show
Oh,
is.
fucking
like
totally.
every year. It's like...
But that's what I mean. Like,
here's what happened in my life in the last couple of years. Here are all my songs about this time that I went through in my life.
But on one hand, and I don't know when we became Swifties, but
I'm not a
quickly
Swiftie even. I'm just I'm an admirer.
Objective.
This is like literally just, I don't have stakes in this
But
game.
the criticism does not hold up to... Because she gets critiqued for her success not being her own.
Yes.
But at the same time, her biggest singles are critiqued for being too personal.
Right.
So which one is it?
Yeah. It's like they won't
she
be
a
happy with
puppet?
either of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like they're just jealous of her success. Haters going to hate.
All right. Taylor Swift versus John Mayer.
Okay.
What's his big hit? Barney is a wonderland.
And now he's the lead singer
Didn't
of
he
the
also
Grateful
say
Dead.
his penis was racist or
His
something?
penis is a wonderland. No, his penis...
Because he just says he's never slept with a black girl, so his penis is racist?
So all I remember is
his penis is in the KKK.
He didn't...
It's a KK cock. So, Mike, I apologize for asking you to Google this. Can you find out what he said about his penis being racist?
Yeah, so John Mayer did a famous interview with Playboy magazine where
right.
he talked about all the women that he'd had, kind of sex with and spilled
Sexual
a lot of...
relations.
Yeah, it was immediately before Australia got him for the Logies. Again, on that...
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's how he got him.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because he was like on his...
He was cancelled.
I can't work
Pre-cancelled,
I can't work in America tour, so we got him for the Logies. And so John Mayer, said a whole bunch of crook stuff at some point.
Do you think it was because he was talking to Playboy
I think that was
that
part
he
of
was
it.
like, oh, well, I can say this gross shit?
Yeah, he was being provocative, but it was also a bit of the era of that, or it was the end of the era of that. And then there was like
Edgelord. But of all that, like...
and he was hanging out with a lot of comedians, and I
right.
think that he thought he was like edgy and funny.
Right.
Now he's the lead singer of the Grateful Dead, I believe.
Speaking, and this is off topic, we'll get back to this, I promise.
mean,
all
it
you
doesn't
all you
matter.
Swiftgets out there, we're getting back to Taylor Swift and Biscuits. But I've been listening to Eminem's new album and this whole concept album of Slim Shady dying and stuff.
Because that's what it is. For people who don't know, the latest, I'm so fascinated by... We can get back to Taylor, but let's talk about Eminem for a second.
We've got a whole episode.
Yeah. So, okay, just give me your initial, like...
Okay, so my initial thing is like, I'm enjoying the album.
Yeah.
And I read the tweet that he put out, or that someone said, just you got to listen, for it to make sense, you got to listen to it in order. But I don't like that. So my take on it is it's like Slim Shady's dead, that kind of outrageous, potty-mouthed, politically incorrect persona, is bubbling up, but Marshall Mathers is in control now, and he's sick and tired of this juvenile Cartman-esque kind of character, and it's time to bury him. But sometimes I think the separation of the two personas isn't as clear as it should be. You know what I mean?
Well, I think... And that's where you get to the bit that is interesting to me, which is that a flaw? Is it not as clear as he's meaning it to be? Or it feels to me when it's more successful in that, and because I think it's amazing that he's making these like high concept, like albums where he's having this argument with himself about his legacy and what this character meant to him. Like it gave him success, but also was like an outrageous arm of him that got him into trouble. But how much of it is Marshall, right? How much is he blaming on Slim when it's actually Marshall who wants to say those things but doesn't have the courage to?
But are you saying that's intentional?
I think it is.
Okay, right.
Because
Maybe
I
that's what
think
I was missing.
thematically... But that's what I think makes it feel messy, because he's being more grey than black and white.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, I mean, that thing where he, like, because when there's that Christopher Reeve track early on, you're like, what's going on? Like, why is he talking about Christopher Reeve on, like, in this era? Like, what is this about, right? And even just the references are like,
Really
it's like,
dated.
it's a really weird dated thing. And then there's this reveal that was a track that he dropped off, like an album, and then so there's like a whole bit about that where he's having this dialogue about his courage and the fact that he dropped that off because he died and he thought people would be offended, and whether he's not as edgy as he thinks he. And like, I find him a incredibly interesting artist, and I'd be fascinated to know how much of it is on purpose and how much of it is that is what he is, and that's just how it comes. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
as in,
totally.
is it all deliberate and intentional, or sometimes are we reading things that he's not seeing or conscious of?
I
Like,
agree, and that's the thing I don't understand.
And I don't
either. I remember, like, you know, when he first came out in the sort of early 2000s, a friend of mine saying to me, "Oh, the reason he's so good is he's the first rapper to bring stand-up comedy into rapping.
He's
and
funny.
His
He's
songs
still
are really funny, and I think he's really bright too.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's
I mean, he's clever. His use of words and language is so
yeah,
clever.
yeah, the puns and all that kind of stuff. But I also think, like, conceptually, what he wants to do with his music is
Yeah.
clever as well. But this album, yeah, like, I don't know if it's an intention, because I read it as just being a messy, half-conceived concept album, a bit like Sgt. Pepper's. Sgt.
Yeah.
Pepper's is a concept album where it starts like a concept album and finishes, but in the middle it's like, oh, and here's for the benefit of Mr. Kite for some reason, like, it has no relation.
Yeah,
to the
and I don't
Sgt.
know,
Pepper's
but I
premise.
feel like that it feels. I mean, I think he's always been an artist who, like, there's a lot of his shit that, like, is, you know, not like the things he's talking about or the way he's talking about them are not things that I endorse what he's saying. Or,
No.
you know, like, you know, and there's language in there that I'm well within. Like, I totally understand people who go, I have no time for Eminem because of, like, you know, the slurs he's used or the way that he's, like, you know, okay, fair enough. Totally get that.
Yeah.
If you think that's part of it, which is always something that I've bought into, is that I think that he is. I don't think that he is just the things he pretends to be. I think that he is more complex than that. But I don't know where. Like, when he's rapping about woke, like on this thing, which I think is some of the least successful parts of it, is he parodying that idea of, like, rapping about
I
woke?
thought it was. I thought that was
Yeah.
what he was doing.
And I think there's a lot on this album that it's very hard to tell one way or the other. And I think, to me, I think that is actually showing more complexity between the battles and the blurred lines between who these characters are, because I think a really simplistic way to do it would have been like, Slim Shady said all the bad shit, and I'm Marshall and I'm a whole. But it's a real battle between the two of them often, like literally sometimes the two of them on tracks, kind of pointing out each other's, like, he's a fierce critic of his own work, like fierce critic and defender of his own work within the same, like, often you like, dude, the person you're defending the argument from is you. You're the one who made the argument in the first place. And I think if that's on purpose, it's great because the messiness is part of it, right? It isn't just as simplistic as we're burying Slim Shady and I'm going to be something new now. But I don't know either. Like, because there's parts of it that I think are really successful and parts of it that I don't think are as successful. And it's often when I can't tell whether he's
I also
serious or not.
don't like lyrics and lyrical content aside, I hate it when he sings. I just hate when he doesn't sing a lot, but there's at least a couple of tracks on every album where he sings the chorus, and like, I just don't like the tone of your voice. I don't like the way you sing. Just like get Skylar, is it Skylar Grey? Who's the girl that normally does? Just get her in. She's great.
Yeah.
I like listening to her sing. I don't like it when you sing, that kind of real, like, monotone kind of like warbling you do.
That verse he does about P. Diddy, though, is...
Oh, I can't remember what that was, that verse.
we
don't have to remember it.
But there's like so many. There's a bunch of like great lines in it, right? But it's there's one where it's like he talks about. There's a line about like where he's spelling rapper, and he's like rapper, RAPER. hang on, he didn't spell rapper without
Oh,
P, did
yeah,
he?
yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and then that's the whole,
That is
and then
good.
a bit over that, and it's like there's a whole verse there that's like real clever
Because
stuff. You
I
know?
mean, there is a joke, or I think it was an urban myth, but then it turned out to be true that he reads the dictionary. Like he will sit
Yes,
there and read
that's
the
right.
dictionary and just learn new words and work out how he can cram words in. Because I remember that when he had that diss with Machine Gun Kelly, and Machine Gun Kelly's like attacking him is like, you're just a fucking nerd who locks him. You don't go out, you just lock yourself in your room and read the dictionary. And it's like, yeah. And that's
Yeah,
why he's one of the greatest rappers of all time. And you're Machine Gun Kelly. Like, that's the difference.
yeah. I mean, he's so complex, and I wish I could tell because so much of his public persona is bravado. I'd love to just be able to like one day sit down with him in like a private conversation, not for broad, just like, what are you actually like?
Yeah.
Like without being like, Eminem, like,
Mm.
or without being Slim Shady, any of that sort of stuff. Who are you like as an artist? Like how much is he thinking about this? How much like what's his process? What does he think he's really doing as opposed to what is the salesman him saying that he's doing?
Well, it's interesting. Like we were just having a talk about Kevin Smith off air, and
Yeah.
I only recently found out that Kevin Smith had been through this whole emotional breakdown, and he's talked about it quite a bit since. But
Yes.
the summary of it is he had a moment of disassociation where he kind of just lost touch with reality and didn't know who he was. And in the video I saw him talking about it, he said that he had created, when he became famous with Clerks, he created the persona of Kevin Smith that we all know, the super nerd. He made dirty jokes and, joked about his own weight and all that kind of stuff. But then this video, he talks about how that was this kind of self-preservation thing in a way, because suddenly he had a lot of attention. He had a lot of self-loathing. He didn't want anyone to see the real him. So he created Kevin Smith. Someone like Eminem, it's a similar thing, right? He literally created Slim Shady, and that person you can put out onto Front Street and they can say the things that you're too scared to say or you don't want to be take the slings and arrows. But there must be a risk when you get world famous or super famous that thing that you created as your armor, and that's the only thing that either people want to see or that they respond to, and you pour all this energy into someone that isn't actually you, that when you are sitting alone in a room and talking to someone and they ask you who's the real you, that you might go, fuck, I've been in this character for so long, I actually don't know who I am. Like how much of this stuff, I find myself telling other people's anecdotes because I've heard them so many times that I've adopted them. And that's like subconsciously, that's not me deliberately trying to do it. If you've built a career of being someone else, and then at some point you have to go home to your family or visit your parents or whatever, it's like, how do you just switch off that and become the person that they grew up with?
Yeah, and I mean, we know that Eminem grew up with a lot of trauma. That's the thing that he's discussed a lot in his work, obviously, is the backstory of his trauma. So you talk about like the creation of a character as a safe place from some trauma you've experienced. I think with M, we at least kind of knew that that was part of the 8 Mile, part of his story. It's always been chronicled along the journey. But also in this, he does do that thing of kind of pointing out that he's raised daughters who've gone to college, and that like there is a different part of the story as well, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's actually, as any time I see any movie or anything that's about father-daughter relationships, like I just start crying. Like it's because now I'm a dad, I just can't help it. And there is that track where he plays all those home videos with Haley, and I'm like, she was little once too. Like it's just such a
And now they're
shortcut.
all getting dunked on in his film clip for his new song.
Oh, really?
Have you not seen the Houdini film clip?
No.
So it's like real old school Dr. Dre, Eminem, like like very much, well, that's what it's meant to be, right? Like it's this
A
kind
throwback.
of the Guess Who's Back, version.
Oh no, I have seen that. Is that the one
Yeah.
where they put on the Batman and Robin?
Yeah, and they're
on the rooftop. No.
Oh
Is that
no,
Houdini?
no, that's not. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But anyway, what was I talking
Haley?
about? Haley. So the kid, there's the line about the kids, dissing them, and they're all on the phone, like in the film clip, like being like dissed. But like you're like, oh, this is fun, right?
Yeah,
like he's clearly, there is a sense of like, yeah, there's a real me as well. That like, yes, I rapped about like all these things, but also
Well, what's that Onion headline? It's like when Haley Jade was like in high school, and it's like Eminem terrified that his daughter's going to go to prom with a kid who grew up listening to his music. It's like, yeah, you reap what you sow.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike the Third, did you find any info about John Mayer's penis?
Yeah, Mike's left.
Fair enough.
Mike's he's been kicked out of the.
No, sorry.
Okay.
It takes me a second to just still in shock from the John Mayer stuff I've been reading.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say
Okay, all right.
there might be a lot, right? What have you found?
Mike, are you okay? You're all right. Are you crying right now?
What have you found?
So there's two things. I don't know the order in which this happened, and that interview you mentioned, Will, but at some point he was asked, like, how do you feel about African American women throwing themselves at you? And that's when he said the line, I don't think I opened myself to it. My dick is sort of like a white supremacist. I've got a Benetton heart and a fucking David Duke cock.
Oh my
Oh
God.
no, he
Start
didn't say
dating
that.
separately from my dick.
And
Oh
now,
no,
ladies
he
and
didn't.
gentlemen, welcome to the
Crazy.
Logies
Oh my
closer,
God.
John Mayer, fucking Australia.
I've got a David Duke cock.
The Jackson Jive and John Mayer are closing the Logies.
Yes. Oh my God.
And then at some other
Benetton
point,
heart and a
he-
David Duke cock. I mean, it's a great line.
Jesus.
Well, there's other article references that he was, or something about being a part-time comedian, like wanting to be a comedian. Did
He
you know
was
about
hanging
this?
out with comedians a lot.
Which
I do know
comedian?
that.
So, like, what's his face? Who's that guy? Is Dane Cook? Was it Dane Cook?
Dane,
Sounds
might
like,
have been Dane Cook. I don't know. No, I think it was kind of New York guys from memory, but I don't actually remember who it was that he was.
Right. Okay. Well, in another interview, he dropped the N-bomb.
oh my
yeah.
God. Is that the same interview?
It wasn't him.
No,
It was his
I don't
dick.
know the order of these interviews, but it was referencing someone said, "What's it like to have a hood pass?" He said, "Why would you call it a hood pass if you could call it something else pass?"
Oh my God.
Oh.
What year was that?
Ooh. If
This
it
is
isn't, if
looking
the
like
answer of this
2010.
doesn't start with an 18,
I mean, that is a.
On a
Go on, Mike.
Oh, I was going to say, on a brighter note, Muhammad Ali's poem was "Me We."
Oh,
Me we.
Yeah, I knew it because
Me we.
it's the shortest.
me we,
Oh, what did I say? I we. I me.
I we, me we,
We me. Me we.
we all we.
Okay, so let's get
Okay.
back to the Swift of it all. So this is Taylor Swift versus the David Duke cock owner, John Mayer.
God,
Swift all but named ex-Mayer as a subject of her 2010 song Dear John, a track he later said embarrassed him. I never got an email, he told Rolling Stone in 2012. I never got a phone call. I was really caught off guard and really humiliated me at a time when I'd already been dressed down. I didn't deserve it. I'm pretty good at taking accountability now, and I never did anything to deserve that. It was a really lousy thing for her to do. More than 6 years later, though, he told concert goers that Swift's album Reputation is a fine piece of work. But that could be interpreted two ways, right? You're a fine piece of work.
you're a fine piece of work.
It's a fine piece of work. I don't think fine
How
piece
would
of work
you just
is a
if I said it
pejorative
to you?
or
I said you're
a
a fine.
superlative.
I'll just say it, and you see how
Yeah.
you feel. You're a fine piece of work.
That's an insult.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was.
Well,
say,
I'll
I
say to you.
Okay.
You're a fine piece of work.
Thank you.
Okay. It's because you have like resting bitch face. That's the problem. I have a friendly face. You've got a resting bitch face. That's what it comes
Because I was
down
trying to say it in a friendly
I
way.
know, it doesn't matter. Swift proceeded to release several more songs rumored to be about Mayer, including Would've, Could've, Should've off 2022's Midnights and Foolish One from Speak Now, Taylor's version in 2023. I mean, come on. That many years later, she's still going on about it? I don't think so. And John's a very common name. Maybe there's lots of Johns. Not everything has to be about a man she's dated, does it? Like if it's a
No.
relationship song? Like Iona's favorite song is a really old one of hers, like when she was a teen idol. What's it called? She wears short skirts, I wear Sneakers, she's cheer captain, and I'm on the bleachers. You know that song? It's all
No.
about like a nerdy girl who's in love with the high school jock, but the high school jock's dating the homecoming queen.
And she's the nerdy girl.
And she's the yeah, like
But she's-
supermodel looking.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift is
She's
the
the nerdy girl.
Yeah, like the narrow. I mean,
Because she's now like in love with the high school jock.
that's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so she's fulfilled her. Well, actually, I don't know if he's the high school jock. She's friend zoned in the song. So it's about her best friend, this boy. They get on really well.
Yeah.
They like the same music. They hang out on the park bench. They make jokes, all this kind of stuff. But he's dating the hot girl at school, and she's saying
she's
like,
just the plain
"Look,
Jane.
I'm plain
You
Jane.
belong with me.
You belong with me.
You belong.
Can't you
that's,
see?
That's too much.
You
though.
belong. Well, too much baby reindeer
You
going
belong
on.
with me.
You belong with me.
Yeah, if I say that, how does it feel? You belong with me.
No, that sounds real threatening.
Yeah.
Real threatening. You belong.
You
with
belong
me.
with me.
That's Stan, right?
You. belong with
What's
me.
his shit? You're saying we belong together. That type of shit will make us not want to be together. I'll meet each other. Okay. Taylor Swift versus Joe Jonas.
Joe Jonas.
How can anyone have an issue with the Jonas Brothers? Name me one defining characteristic of any of the Jonas Brothers.
They're brothers.
They have hair.
One of them was married to a Game of Thrones, and it
Which
was no
one?
good.
Oh, Sophie Turner.
Yep.
Yeah, right. What
She
do
was
I know?
married to a Jonas.
Purity rings. There
What?
was a while because they were Christian. I believe they were a Christian pop act.
Okay.
And I only saw it because it parodied on South Park, and they would hand out purity rings to their fans, which is like, we're gonna wait till marriage before we have sex. And South Park did this amazing episode about it, where it's like, talk about conflicting messages. You've got all these like teeny bopper fans that you've got these like pretty boys coming out and singing about being in love and wanting to be with you, baby, but also hold off. Wear this purity ring, this Jonas Brothers purity ring.
We'll fire you up and then put your ring on.
Yeah, put your ring
Yeah,
on.
okay.
You're going to get blue balls or whatever the equivalent is, blue ovaries. In November.
Blue ovaries.
Is there an equivalent?
Blue. I've got a real case of blue ovaries.
Blue ovaries.
Come on, mate. Just fire one up me. I've got a case of blue ovaries.
In 2008, Swift claimed the sucker singer dumped her with a 27-second phone call the month prior. Jonas offered his version of events in a MySpace post.
Oh, yeah, great.
Fucking hell.
Old school.
That went the same month. For those who have expressed concern over the 27-second phone call, I called to discuss feelings with the other person. Those feelings were obviously not well received. I did not end the conversation. Someone else did. Phone calls can only last as long as the person on the other end of the line is willing to talk. The former couple have since made peace, even going on a double date in 2015 with then partners Calvin Harris and Gigi Hadid. Despite maintaining cordial relationships over the years, Swift showed her support for Jonas's estranged wife, Sophie Turner, following their September 2023 split. In addition to several public hangouts, Swift lent her New York City home to Turner and the pair's two daughters to stay at amid the divorce proceedings. That is a ultimate fucking clapback.
That's good.
I'm supporting your ex.
Yeah, that's fun.
That's really good. All right. This is the one that you were most interested in. Taylor Swift versus Tina Fey and Amy Poehler.
Yes.
Who has a problem with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler?
Not a lot. I mean, some people with the humor, I guess, but like
But I mean, no.
Taylor, this feels like Taylor Swift would be
On
this
board.
can't just be about a joke, right? This is
Well,
going to be a joke.
okay.
They've made some joke and she doesn't like
It's
the
a very,
joke.
it's a very short entry
Yeah.
of all of them. After the Saturday Night Live alums made a joke about Swift's love life at the Golden Globes, Swift expressed her outrage with a Madeleine Albright quote. "There's a special place in hell for women who don't help other women." Faye later told Entertainment Tonight that it was a shame she didn't take the joke in the crazy aunt spirit in which it was intended.
What was the joke?
There's a link here.
Yeah, I want to know what the joke was before I go.
Golden Globes 2013's most awkward moments, Salma Hayek flubs, Taylor Swift mocked, and more. Okay, so Taylor Swift dissed. About halfway through the show, Faye and Poehler took a moment to warn their Hollywood colleagues to keep Glenn Close away from the alcohol and country darling Swift away from Michael J. Fox's sand. You know what, Taylor Swift? Stay away from Michael J. Fox's son, Faye joked as the audience tittered nervously. that's fucking it.
I mean, doesn't feel like a real feud, does it?
The camera cut to the singer who smiled demurely. Tina Fey tried to save the situation by saying she needs to take some time to learn about herself. I mean, maybe that's probably more what it is. But even then, like in terms of zingers, that is
Not much. Hard to get you on the enemies list with that. I've got to be honest with you. It feels like you're padding it out.
Yeah. Okay. Nicki Minaj.
Okay.
Now
Here we go.
I feel like I'm a big fan. I mean, we've done a Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion episode before. We know that Minaj can throw down. What's she going to have for Taylor Swift? All right. This is the last one, by the way. It's been quite a journey. Swift had a brief showdown with Minaj in July 2015 when she thought the MC was slamming Swift's 2015 MTV VMA nomination instead of just making a general statement about the field of nominees. Swift tweeted an apology and Minaj brought her onto stage during her VMA performance that year.
Okay, that seems good.
So they
that
sorted it out real quick.
Everything's fine.
Swift went on to call the rapper her favourite Sagittarius after Minaj presented her with a Video of the Year award at the VMAs. That's
Sagittarius.
So where's the conflict?
Yeah, that's fine.
Swift had a brief showdown with Minaj when she thought the MC was slamming Swift's... Oh, no, he gives a fuck. That's
fine.
nothing. Oh, come on, Us Magazine or
Come
US
on.
Magazine. Do you think it's Us or US?
Us.
We? Me.
Us.
Us. That article was passed. No, we started good, and then they really... I think
so that was it for Nicki?
that was Nicki. That was it. That's
What?
hardly a beef.
That's nothing.
That's nothing. That's it. And
That's
that's
a
it for-
misunderstanding.
But it is interesting, right? Like, do you think this is manufactured? Like, because people know that she...
Part of it.
Yeah.
The storyline feeds the songs and it's all part of the grander Taylor Swift.
Because
Taylor Swift is a multimedia experience now. You can see it live in theaters, hear it on your radio, download the songs, watch the documentaries, buy the merchandise, follow the relationship, know the backstory. Like it's a full, like it's what football is to us in football season, right? Where you're watching all the shows and you're following along and you're like, that's what it is.
Yeah, I guess so. Hey, there's something else I wanted to bring up to you that we've mentioned before earlier.
Okay.
I kind of wanted to do this at the live show, and then I felt that maybe it could be interpreted as being mean-spirited.
Oh.
But not mean-spirited, but just like, I don't know. But I've been obsessed with this Facebook, Byron Bay Facebook page and potential catfishing.
Yes.
So I've brought in some examples to show you, to see if you think that I'm just being like a paranoid, out-of-touch old man who doesn't understand how people communicate, and everyone posts bikini pics and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to read you some posts. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you, this is going to be the control measure, right? This is a post from, this is like just a guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's in a high-vis vest, couple photos of him.
Sort of slouch style hat.
Yep. And he says, hello, my name is blah, blah, blah. I'm 22 years old. I'm looking for a job in construction. I'm a plumber and an air conditioning installer. He talks about his experience, then gives some details about his qualifications and leaves his contact details. Okay. So that's like a control.
That looks pretty standard to me. I'm pretty happy that he's probably a real person.
Okay.
Okay.
Quite a different photo.
Yeah. No, this is like,
attractive woman.
a very attractive woman.
Yep. Not in a bikini.
No. In like a sort of, she looks like she's in a
This looks very Byron.
very Byron Bay. She looks like she could be in a folk band or have like a pottery shop or have her own fashion label.
Yeah.
Like drink kombucha, loves Pilates.
Hello. I have just moved to Byron. Before I've been around Sydney, Torquay, and I'm looking for a job. I'm looking for full-time, but just a few hours work. That just works for me. I am into yoga. I can babysit. I love to surf. I have worked as a waitress, and I can work on a farm. Anything else, just let me know. Legit?
I mean, it's possible.
I think
It's possible.
she
that,
seems,
like,
but she's quite attractive and looking for like part-time work.
Are you saying that attractive people?
This
are
is
never
why.
unemployed?
This is the thing. Is I didn't want it to sound like I was being like misogynistic or something like attractive women, because that's the other thing.
Attractive women are always employable. You're
Well,
saying.
no, but it's more that like I think this is a generational thing that young people, like in an Instagram culture, like putting photos forward, putting a really glamorous photo forward is part of your CV.
Of course, part of your brand, your personal brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so initially I was like, I mean, it's such an attractive photo, but the request is for work.
Yes.
I mean, but it's work. She's not looking for a place to stay. I mean, if you were a catfish, why would you be asking for like job leads? Catfish would be asking for like a place to stay, right? Or something a bit more.
I don't know. Like, I mean, that would be in my maybe pile. That would be my to revisit, to advise some caution.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My two friends and I are looking for accommodation in Byron Bay.
Yeah, no, this is fake.
We are three French women.
Yeah, all right.
Gives their names.
Dear Forum.
Yeah.
I always thought letters to your magazine.
If
were
you have
made
the
up
possibility to host us,
Yeah.
please let us know.
Mm-hmm.
But that photo is kind of like
So-
it could be a clever catfish because it's not quite as attractive or glam as the other one.
It's a beautiful
Sunset photo.
Sunset photo. They all seem,
Clothed.
yeah. Actually, you know what? Maybe that one's maybe,
Okay, that's legit.
maybe.
All right, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't trust anything, so I'll have a level of natural suspicion in general. But so far they seem okay.
Okay, now this is more of what you normally get.
Yeah. This is like
Swimsuit photo.
yeah, big beautiful glamour shot,
Yeah.
and then a swimsuit photo. Yes.
Hello, Byron. I'm a traveller at heart who's landed in this beautiful corner of the world with a background in hospitality and a passion for creating welcoming spaces. I'm looking out for a place to stay in to spread the good vibes. I can craft the perfect cup of coffee and ensure that my friends feel at home. I'm all about positive energy. When I'm not working, you'll find me on the yoga mat or attempting to catch some waves. Let's connect and create some magic together. What do you think about that?
And this is just on the general Facebook
General
page.
Facebook page. The only thing that makes me suspect is the swimsuit photo.
That definitely made me suspect.
Yeah. And you can
the
find
fact
me on
that
the
there's
yoga
like,
mat.
you can find me on the yoga mat. Like the fact that it's like get together, connect. Like that could be, again, these are quite convincing. They're in the style of the local area, so they could be real.
Another super attractive
Man,
person.
Look, this one I'm going to find very hard to believe is
real.
a real person.
Hi, everyone. My name's blah, blah, blah. I'm 23 years old. I'm from the States. I'm looking for a place in Byron Bay that'll be available in late August. I love surfing, yoga,
Oh, yoga, really?
working out, spending
Yeah.
time outdoors, and I'm
Yeah.
always up for a chat. Please reach out if you can help me.
Nah, fake. Catfish.
I mean,
Catfish.
there's more than that photo, and they're all incredibly attractive. And it's funny, like, because I was like, I don't want this to make look I'm woman bashing and
No.
that like I'm shaming these girls for being proud of their bodies and.
Oh
putting
no!
photos
If
up and
they're
stuff.
real, then absolutely 100% here for you.
Yeah.
Well done to you. Congratulations. Like nothing.
Yeah.
But the photos look like the sort of photos you would use if you were trying to lure people into going.
And this works both
Yeah.
ways, mind you. I couldn't find an example, but like there was this South American dude, super hot, 6-pack, it looked like professionally taken
Yeah,
photographs.
I've seen some
Hey, I'm
male
Eduardo.
ones as well.
I
Yeah,
need a place to
exactly.
stay.
Yeah.
I'm good at back rubs.
I'm constantly.
I'm great at
oiled.
fucking
I'm
divorcees.
just real good at fucking.
If you just separate your husband, because
I'm looking for a place to stay.
I need
and I'm thinking
to
about
eat. If you know
inside
what I'm
you.
talking about, and I can eat all day.
I'm hungry, real hungry.
Real hungry. Now, well, because this is our last TOFOP today, it's time to empty the mailbag. Thank you
Yeah.
to everyone who writes into us. I know sometimes
Thank
it takes
you.
us a little while to get back to you guys. But if you want to get in contact with us, you can. Just go to
Now,
everyone-
do we want to crack the sack before the mailbag, or do we want to do it after the mailbag?
let's do it after the
Yeah.
mailbag.
Okay.
Let's
So
do
we'll
it-
crack the sack, and then we'll crack the pack.
Okay, yeah, crack the sack and then crack the pack. This is a kind of. Is this the one? No, sorry. This is a different one. This is an overseas listener wanting
Okay.
to know about Aussie bands. My friends have been debating the best Aussie bands. I'd love to hear your thoughts. It's really just an excuse to have a few drinks, put on some tunes, and have some good-natured arguments. They're all saying Cold Chisel, but I reckon their songs are too samey to be the best band ever, even though they're bloody good. I've been pushing Regurgitator primarily for their ability to be awesome. Oh, so they're not from overseas. I take that back. Primarily for their ability to be awesome no matter what the genre of music, which is my number one criteria, though not for everyone. Thoughts? Rules are bands only, Aussie origin, no crowded house. Best Aussie band ever.
Cold Chisel's got to be in the conversation.
Midnight Oil?
Midnight Oil would definitely be in that conversation. AC/DC. Does AC/DC count?
Yeah.
I mean, they're the most successful
Most
Australian
successful.
band of all time. Modern days, Tame Impala have been super successful.
I have to check out of this conversation in 1992.
Powderfinger were incredibly successful,
Yeah.
defined an entire generation
What's
of
a band
Australian
that
music.
you like the most, personally, that you like listening to the most?
There's a great band called Art of Fighting.
Oh, yep.
that
Art of Fighting. We made a music video for them.
Yeah, I love Art of Fighting. That is very undervalued. There was someone in at work the other day who'd said they'd run into Marty from Art of Fighting at something, and he'd said that I was one of the 12 people who were a big fan of their band, but that is not true. They are a
No,
great
there's
band.
three of us. There's me,
Yeah.
there's you, and then Anthony Hayes, I believe, used them to score his film, his debut feature
Is
film.
that right?
Yep.
Yeah, no, they're brilliant, and I highly recommend checking out that. They're a great Australian band. What about Silverchair? Obviously, were one of the great, modern sort of
Yeah.
bands.
Baby Animals did a great debut album.
The Presets, In Excess, obviously a huge Australian band. Hoodoo Gurus,
Yeah.
um,
Something for Cake.
something for cake, exactly. Yes,
Million
Something for
Bags of
Cake.
Flour.
Weddings, Parties, Anything. What about
Oh, fucking
modern,
the Divinals.
The Divinals.
I mean, I think
absolutely.
Chrissy Amphlett, I know we're talking about bands, but if you're talking about
the
the greatest rock
the
stars,
Sunny Boys.
Chrissy Amphlett, one of the best ever, not just Australian, but rock stars ever. And then Michael Hutchence, in terms of rock stars, I think he's probably the biggest rock star we've ever produced.
Kylie Minogue solo artists, so not a band. Who are the Living End were a great live band.
Hilltop Hoods.
Hilltop Hoods are they a band? Do you count them as a band?
Well, they play
They're
with
hip-hop, right?
but when they play live, they play with a band. They have
modern day times, who are the biggest Australian bands.
This is where I have to check out.
So, yeah.
Mike, do you have an opinion on
So
this?
Tame Impala are big. Oh, what Parkway Drive?
Yep.
What the Teskey Brothers?
Courtney Barnett.
Courtney Barnett. Is
Not
Courtney
really band,
Barnett a
though.
band?
Yeah.
She's got a band though,
Yeah.
right?
Casey Chambers.
Casey Chambers. Paul Kelly.
Keith Urban. I was going to call him Carl Urban.
Carl
That's
Carl
the
Urban.
actor.
Paul Kelly.
Oh, yeah, Paul
Definitely.
Kelly.
Paul Kelly, one of the
Australia's Bob Dylan.
Yes, exactly. One of the absolute big ones.
There's lots of good bands. I don't know which one. I'd say if I had to pick
If you had to
one,
pick the best Australian band of all time.
Midnight Oil. The band that I have listened to the longest, the most, saw them at Blues Fest 2 years ago and was amazed by just how energized they were. Just loved them. Oh, Hoodoo Gurus.
Yeah, I said Hoodoo Gurus.
Did you?
before.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just.
Oh, you're
I'm
just going to
remembering.
say, yeah.
The Hoodoo Gurus is, for me, I think, hits per
So
song.
many hits.
Hits per song.
Yeah.
You listen to their best of, and there's not one.
I know, so many good songs.
There's not
on
one
it.
bad track on that.
Yeah, Hoodoo Gurus would be right up there for me
Yeah.
across generations.
Sorry. Do you have any more, Mike, to add to that before we move on? No. Mike? Okay,
Sorry, it takes me a second to unmute.
Okay.
No, I was just going to say Crowded House.
Yeah,
no,
they
that
don't
was
count.
excluded.
I was kidding. I'm kidding. Just
Not
kidding.
allowed to
All
say
right,
Crowded
he
House.
was kidding. He was just joshing.
Because
I was-
otherwise
Nick,
the-
Nick, yeah.
Yeah, Nick Cave in the Bad Seats. That is
Oh,
a
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's definitely a good. What about do we count?
Tex Perkins. What were they called? Cool C.
Corsi were big.
I think Beast Suburban.
Yeah, they were big.
Hard-Ons.
Yeah.
Cosmic Psychos.
Did you
Sort of
mention
more- bit more
UMI?
punk.
You am I.
Oh, my God,
That's
UMI.
That's a good suggestion.
Yeah.
Well
It's
done.
really good. I mean, the 90s had heaps of great bands.
Yeah, girling.
Oh, I went and saw Magic Dirt last year. I was
Magic Dirt.
amazed by how good
Yes.
they were. They were
Yeah,
a
they
really
were a
good
great
live band. Yeah.
Regurgitator.
Yeah, he mentioned that in the letter.
Jebediah.
Yes.
Oh
Empire of the Sun.
yeah.
Rat Cat.
Rat's Cats.
Great album.
Yes. Don't go now.
Colette, Ring
Best
My Bell.
one-off album, The Avalanches.
Yes.
Oh,
I agree
yeah.
with that. Yes, they a band. They're like, I guess
They're a band.
I mean, they're
What
DJs,
qualifies?
right?
Oh, yeah. I gotcha. All right, let's move on. This is from Ashy. Guys, I've fallen a little behind, and I was listening to the episode called Dudesy, where you two were talking about AI, and I was driving while listening. Now, I've recently got a new car. It's a big upgrade from a 20-year-old Ford to a new Audi, and the computer systems are amazing. But here's the problem. I was driving along the highway with cruise control on my car, and it started speeding up. My feet were nowhere near any of the pedals or the flappy pedals on the steering wheel. Flat road, the car was getting faster. The pod was playing through the Bluetooth. So I feel like it was a warning sign from the car's computer that talking bad about AI will be punished. Everyone relax. I got it back under control and thankfully lived to tell the tale. Even though you boys nearly killed me, I still think you're fantastic.
Wow.
Well, it's your car almost killed you. I mean, it's not our fault that you were listening to kind of anti-AI rhetoric in your car. You could be careful around that.
I mean, it would be amazing, though, if Audi had done a deal with AI that if anyone
Talk
consumed, they'd run them off the road.
I mean, I reckon that, like, knowing Elon Musk, how he's having this huge pivot to the right, it wouldn't surprise me if, like, he's installed every new Tesla with some kind of, like, are people talking shit about me?
Oh, yeah, right.
Like-
if it just comes up, they
Yeah,
crash
he
it
crushed
into
the
wall.
car,
Yeah, totally. And you can't spell Audi without A and I.
Oh. This is from Christy. Hey, guys, first time, long time. In a recent episode, another listener reported having seen white dog poo,
Yes.
and you mused on whether or not it was becoming trendy again.
Yeah.
And Will pointed out that dogs still eat bones. I think we may start seeing more white dog poo again soon because of the trend away from kibble and towards homemade and particularly raw dog
Did
food.
we not read this one out already?
Did we? Feeding bones is a big part of a biologically appropriate raw food diet. Bath? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
We have talked a lot about dog poo. We wonder why we can't get a sponsor.
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing?
Every dog is different and how much bone they can digest. It took me a while to work out how much is right for the dog. The white poo was obviously a super helpful indicator that you have fed it too much. Rosebud ate one of Iona's crayons the other day.
Oh, yeah?
And she did green poo for 3 days.
Oh, really? Oh, that's fun.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
That's
It's very
fun.
hard to see in the grass, especially with my fucking my failing eyesight. I'm like, is that fucking dog poo or is that moss? Oh no, that's dog poo. This is from Emma. Hello, Will and Charlie. I love the pods. I've been listening to TOFOP and Philosophy religiously. I started in 2020 in my first maternity leave and the lockdowns, and I didn't stop. Okay, now this next part of her question proves that she's only a recent listener. Anyway, I've been listened to Buck Up with Kate Langbrook and Nath Valvo, and they are busily trying to settle the collective noun for their listeners. Would you care to name your collective listeners?
Okay,
Well, we
so-
have a name,
we have, yeah.
Emma, the Teabaggers, which I've never
But it's
really
from
been...
the early days, isn't it?
Yeah,
And I don't think,
because
neither of us
everyone
loved
relaxed
it.
now.
Yeah,
We're more than just TOFOP.
that's true.
So I don't know. I mean, like, maybe that's a good thing. We can maybe
We
start.
need
What do we
like
rename?
a rebrand? What we call people who listen to, like, because
Everyone
TOFOP
relaxes.
The teabaggers were very much people who, and look, the teabaggers
Are
can
still a
remain
thing.
teabaggers, but
Yeah.
they're people who like TOFOP, right? Are
Yeah.
the teabaggers. Whereas, like, we've got the ERU now, and so
Erus. Are the Erus? I love
Eru.
the Eru.
ERU,
Everyone relaxes. The relax.
Yeah.
The relaxes. Relaxes could be. That's a nice, easy.
the
one.
relaxers,
The relaxers.
fellow
It
relaxers.
sounds like some kind of laxative, though.
It does, doesn't
A
it?
bowel
You take
relaxer.
your relaxers. You got the big operation tomorrow. Make sure you
Yeah,
take your
a
relaxers. Put that medical bracelet on and take your relaxers.
I'm a big fan, though, of anyone wanting to submit.
Yeah, if someone's got an idea, that would be great.
Here's a hypothetical. We love a hypothetical.
We do.
It's from Mel. I've been meaning to write this one for months, but whenever I think to do it, it's always when I'm in the car listening on the pod and I have no memory retention. A few months back, you thought you went through a stage of mentioning Nirvana in some way, shape, or
yes.
form in a few episodes in a row. Now, the way I listen is that I listen to new eps, and then when I run out, I play Russian roulette with picking an old episode to listen to.
Great.
Let me tell
That's
you,
fun.
this is a great eye-opener and a great way to prove your growth without getting too uncomfortable. That's actually,
That
there you
is
go.
good.
I like
Yeah,
that.
I like it.
Anyways, throughout the old eps, Nirvana is often mentioned as well. I would not have thought that. I understand we've done it a couple of times. I wouldn't have thought it's like a strong through line. We're Gen X, though.
Doesn't surprise me.
The most important band of our generation.
That defined our generation.
Yeah.
So they'll come up a bit.
Now, I'm 42, so not much younger than you. And while Smells Like Teen Spirit was on Rage a lot when I was a kid, I can't say I ever got into Nirvana.
No, you would have been literally just kind of it would have been very
Just
much
a
at the end
little
of
bit.
it, right? Like
Yeah, just
Because,
a little
like,
too young.
42, I'm 50, and Smells Like Teen Spirit came out the summer I finished school.
Yeah.
So
And I was in like year 10.
by the time they
like,
burn through those next few albums and like that 8-year period, that's like Nirvana happens. It's
too young.
gone by then.
Who are you
And it
to s-
became so big
Yeah.
that it wouldn't have felt like something you could get into at that point.
Controversial as it may be, I'm of the opinion that Nirvana would not be as popular today as it is if Kurt Cobain hadn't died. If you think about comparable bands of the time, they've generally faded into their twilight years of fame, as most would expect. Well, I mean, that does happen with most
Yes.
bands. I mean, it's some wonders for Dave Grohl, right? I often wonder if the Foo Fighters would have happened if Kurt hadn't died when he did. My question to you, gentlemen, is what does the world look like in a parallel universe where Kurt doesn't die? I have a feeling, and I actually have thought about this weirdly, that I reckon he would have pivoted right at some point. I mean, I know Chris Novoselic has done that. He's a Trump
Yes.
supporter. I just think that, I don't know, there's been this kind of trend with the punks and the anti-authoritarians of the 90s. A lot of them they become the establishment. It seems to be like the natural course of things. And I get the feeling that Kurt, it depends. If he always wanted to maintain the rage and be counterculture and be anti-politically correct, then I think that that's a good way to stay controversial and edgy, even if he was being ironic or something like that. Because I think a lot of Kurt's music and his lyric writing was about mocking the kind of part of America he grew up in and the kind of personalities and people. So I think he could have gone to the nth degree. But as opposed to whether or not they'd still be famous, who knows?
I don't think he would have continued doing Nirvana. I think that he would have become like a Tom York style.
He may be
like
doing electronic or...
doing some other, like experimenting with other types of music, doing that sort of thing.
Do you think
Or-
do you think he'd be in recovery, like he would be still a heroin addict?
No, I don't. I mean,
The heroin addicts don't have a long
no,
lifespan.
it's part of why he's not with us anymore. So I wonder if there's a world in which Dave Grohl starts to write more of so Pearl Jam, like it's not like it's very shared. Everyone sort of gets a song, that sort of thing these days. Like, would have Dave just got more and more? Like, would it have always been Kurt's kind of predominant vision, or on each album would it ever long have ended up on a Nirvana
Well, it's the
album?
kind of same, people ask the same question about the Beatles. Would George have been allowed to contribute some songs if they'd stayed together? Like if they,
Yeah.
I don't think that they would, because I think band dynamics are so specific, and when something works, why would
Yeah,
you
you're
fuck
like
with
George, you get one per album, and that's it.
And
That's your song.
But Ringo gets a
and
song per
Ringo
album.
gets
That's
one too.
nothing.
Yeah.
Like, come on. I'm a better songwriter than Ringo.
That's the insult.
The insult,
really.
yeah.
Like, it's not an insult that he gets one. The insult is that Ringo also gets one.
Okay. This is from Simon. This is more a question for me. I'm not sure if you check. Anyway, doesn't it? Skip. So I'm sitting here watching a kids show. I have two young girls, and they're into surfing. The show is called Surviving Summer. And who pops up as a super creepy photographer but Charlie?
What?
Now, my girls absolutely hate you. So I'm trying to reconcile my kind, reflective, funny earbuddy Charlie Clausen with the super douchebag that I saw in the show.
So what is this show?
It's called Surviving Summer. It's a Netflix show. I think they've done 2 seasons.
And when were you on it?
this second season,
And which was filmed when?
last year.
Okay.
So the
Kids TV show.
it's a teenagers,
Yeah.
like a teen drama.
And so it's set in America or Australia?
Australia, Australia, but it has an
And
American.
is Summer the lead character in it, or is Summer the like
Some of the idea.
Idea.
Yeah, no. So it's about a girl from New York,
Okay, yeah. Okay. Right. Is that her accent?
New York, New
Yeah,
York,
New York.
New York.
New York City.
Knife, fork, bottle, and a cork. It's a girl from New York City who visits her auntie in Australia, meets all these kids down in Torquay, takes up surfing, the loves and lives of these hot teenagers living in Bells Beach.
Okay.
But they did an episode where there was a surf comp in Byron Bay. And
So did you film locally?
yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I got a call from
Yeah,
my
great.
agent saying, hey, would you be interested in doing this little guestie? And so they wanted to see a tape. And this is the, I think actually we've talked about this before. This is the funny about it. Like, because all I get offered now is, because I'm a middle-aged white guy, is villains.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Because I'm the bad guy. Because my bread and butter used to be like supporting characters, but there's more diversity now, which is I'm all for. But when they want a white guy, you're the bad guy. So when I got sent, I didn't get sent the whole script. I just got sent this scene, and in the scene, it's a photographer. Because in the storyline, the girls surfers have all got like this swimsuit sponsorship, and so this photographer is taking photos for the swimsuit, and one of the girls is African. And he's taking these photos of her, and photographers too. They're like, do this and do that. And at one point, he's like, "You're beautiful, you're exotic, you're amazing." Da da da. Anyway, so I read this script, and I was like, "Okay, it's just a guy taking photos." And so I did I did my audition as like, "Yeah, you're beautiful, you're great, you're exotic." And then I got the part, great, and I got the script, and I'm like, "Well, this guy's a racist." Like what? But it wasn't overt, and this is the thing of like generational thing.
Yeah.
Exotic is a racist term. Like to say, describe someone as being exotic, like I was othering her. And so I was funny because
I get it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
In
I do
context.
understand it. Yes.
I mean, there's more scenes that lead to, like, it wasn't just like that was the moment.
you didn't use the E word, did
No,
you?
yeah. There's a build
But
up.
it's like in AFL describing like Indigenous players' skills as being magical.
Black magic
Yeah,
or-
it's
yeah.
like it used to be like the people who were saying it as a compliment. They
Yeah.
weren't like
But you're othering a group
Yes,
of
but
people.
exactly.
Or saying there's some inherent kind
That's
of like,
right.
value to
Yes.
that. So I got the script and I'm like, oh, fuck, he's a racist. But then when I spoke to the director, he was like, oh, I really loved your audition. He's gone, because everyone else who auditioned was like
played
really
it like a racist.
evil.
Yeah.
and you played it really
like-
bright
yeah.
and happy. and I was like,
Yeah.
because I didn't
It
know
was
I
a
was
bold
being
choice by
racist.
me. That's
Yeah.
what I take. I make bold choices. That's what I do as an actor.
So the rest of his letter, he continues. So my question is, if this is not too personal, why did you take that job? I'm a patron, so I figure I can ask questions about your financial decisions. Was your wife the director? Does this harm your rep in any way?
Interesting, because the girls don't like you. It's like because you played a villain.
Yeah, well, first isn't like Charlie got to work. It's a paying
Yeah.
job. That's why I take the job. Secondly, no, Gemma did not direct the episode. Does it harm my rep? No. Like actors play like,
You played a cop, and I hate cops.
Yeah.
But I still am happy to work with you.
I mean, the other thing too is when you are taking on a role like that, the character you're playing doesn't see themselves as a bad guy.
No, that's the point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, that's kind of how I rationalized it too, was in my head, I'm losing light, trying to get these shots. This girl's being really obstructive. She's not in the moment. I'm trying to snap her out of it. So I'm giving her compliments. I'm saying, you're beautiful. You look amazing. You're your exotic princess, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like that slip of the tongue, because then there is a scene.
Yeah, because also that is like an interesting storyline around the idea of like someone maybe not knowing that particular choice of words or the way that it was said wasn't necessarily particularly. It's not like you said, look, these are great photos, but I need to say this to you. I have a Benetton heart and I have a David Duke.
dick. Well, the interesting thing was, because there was another element of that episode in which she had her hair braided, which I like, but in a traditional
And you
fashion.
did you touch the braids?
No, but that was a storyline in that, like one of the other girls
Someone
wanted
tried
to
to touch
their hair.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Now
exactly.
see again, that's one of those things. Like, okay, I get that.
Yeah.
Culturally, like
A cultural
you know,
appropriation or inappropriate. Or
Yes.
inappropriate behavior. What the fuck
Okay.
has happened here?
Well, that's interesting. It is interesting when you play a villain because you also cheated on Ada Nicodemu
That's
on
right.
Home and Away, right? And people were mad at you about that
Still
for
are.
a while.
Still are. Ada posted something about like a photo of us or something, and it's still people like haven't forgiven me. It's like, hey, it wasn't me.
Yeah, it wasn't you.
It was like fucking 10 years ago. Get over it. Okay. This leads into biscuit stuff, so maybe we can start cracking packs
great.
after this. This is from Josh. Best job ever. Hi, boys. I'm not a doctor. I work in construction. However, my wife works at Arnott's Sweet Team Research.
Okay.
And what a great department, Sweet Team Research.
Yes.
Which, after all your recent biscuit chat, I thought you might find interesting.
I do.
Charlie, I think her job might be your dream job. She literally develops all of the new flavors of Tim Tams and other sweet biscuits. Yes, there is a savory team too for jats and shapes, etc. And this means that she has to try multiple different varieties of biscuits and different flavor combinations. It has its perks for me because I get so many biscuits when I get home from working. I can eat my first dinner of biscuits and then a second dinner of actual dinner food. Anyway, thanks for keeping me relaxed in so many ways. Been listening since 2011 when I was in high school. Jesus. And I've stuck through this. Ha 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 ha. P.S. No, my wife didn't hear Will's slander on the Tim Tams as she doesn't listen despite my attempts to get her into podcasting. Very common.
Well, that
refrain.
won't help.
No. Good job, though.
Yep.
Should be a biscuit tester.
All right. Well, speaking of your job being a biscuit tester, we've
Let's,
actually made that unofficially our jobs.
Crack the sack.
So
and now
this is
empty
the final
pack.
sack. Now this is just a brown paper bag.
Oh.
The biscuits come in a brown paper because this isn't from this. This is from the. This is
The
from a
last
different place.
2 weeks has been
Yeah.
from the cookie store.
Yeah. No, this one's from Bibelo. This is
Okay.
the chocolate chip and marshmallow
All right.
cookie.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, you know, it
okay.
has the same. So it's got the same aesthetic.
It's also a
Hold up
big
to the
cookie.
camera. Same aesthetic as the other ones. It's more of that sort of round, cakey type cookie,
Yeah.
as is tradition. Well, you know
Yeah.
what? We should cheers these when we
Oh yeah. Okay, that's a good idea. Oh, you can see there's like
the gooey
marshmallow in the middle. Cheers.
Okay. Why don't you eat first? We'll break
All
the
right,
tradition. So
okay.
Will's going to take a
I'm gonna
bite
try
first.
first.
So
All right.
I'll describe the biscuit for you.
Yep.
Yes, it's a white white flour biscuit, very puffy, sort of oblong slices, chunky chips with a gooey marshmallow center. I guess it's just like your traditional bakery style chocolate chip cookie. The marshmallow is what makes it super exotic. Will is deep in thought, doesn't seem to be enjoying it, but he does have resting bitch face. I don't know if that's just his. Okay.
I was not aware until today that I had resting bitch face. By the way,
You've mentioned it before.
I was not aware until today that I still had resting bitch face. So I think it's too sugary. Is my initial response. Like my aftertaste, not crispy enough on the outside. The gooiness in the middle is nice, but it's too sugary. And then just the lasting kind of sensation I have in my mouth is just an overpowering mash of sugar, like a kind of a cookie dough style sugar rather than like an actual constructed biscuit is what I'm getting. Yeah, we're both out of water as well, which is a terrible time for us to be so dry. We're going to die of like dehydration.
both choke.
Choke on our biscuits. And the people who hate this bit of the show are so happy because we die eating our biscuits.
I agree. It tastes like a Subway cookie.
Yeah.
Overly sugared,
Too sugary.
preserved. It tastes like there's like, I don't know, preservatives or something in it.
Yeah.
It's a shame because I like all the ingredients, but yeah, it's just too sweet. Like the cookie store with the Nutella biscuit, it was just a great balance of a less sweet biscuit with the super sweet Nutella. This is too much. I give that a C.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, no good.
I'm not going to eat any more of it.
No.
I'm not going to spoil the taste of
We'll leave that here for who records
future
that here?
generations.
Alex and Alex.
Oh, for Matt and Alex.
Matt and Alex.
They can come
eat
in.
our crumbs.
The Matt and Alex actually are doing a midday show on Triple M across the nation at the moment as well around the. Oh, well, no, by the time people
Olympics?
hear this,
Oh, yeah.
it'll be
They were.
well and truly over. It was
I
great.
hope you enjoyed it.
It was great. Hope you enjoyed it.
Well, that is pretty much TOFOP for this week. We mentioned we're doing more live shows.
We are.
Once a month.
Very exciting.
Right up until Christmas. So you can go to everyonerelax.co.
And our live shows are
This.
very relaxed.
Yeah.
That's been the spirit of them. Like, they've been so much fun, like really funny, loose. They go wherever we want to go, but they are very much like a live version of the podcast, or at least we're trying to keep
Our
very much the spirit of the podcast.
Our North Star is how can we recreate this experience, but with 150 people in the room with us. And so that's what we're trying to do. And yes, I understand that there's listeners around Australia who would also like to have that experience. That is what we're working towards. The thing is, if this
The live shows are going up in the feed.
Yep.
Like there are bits of them that don't go up in the feed.
Namely John Deeks freestyling. I mean, incredible entertainer, 50 years worth of experience on the fly can be problematic.
So if you want to see that, you have to come along.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And Question Everything is back on the ABC.
Yeah, it's back on the ABC. Check out Question Everything, and of course, listen to all our other podcasts across this Everyone Relax network.
All right, that is TOFOP. I'm Charlie Clausen.
And I'm Will Anderson.